Good games come out every year, but not nearly as many as was in the early 2000s. It feels like games year by year now that are quality, that are good, that real gamers want to play is far from many, like it used to be. Now we really gotta look to those indie games or look in our catalog of old games that we didn't complete yet to feel like, yo, this legit.
Hello, children. Welcome back to hell. Console gaming is dying, and Nintendo is to blame. Nintendo's recent actions have set off a chain of events that have resulted in higher prices and a stagnating game market. And don't get me wrong, it was happening before Nintendo, but Nintendo basically put the final nail in the coffin. Today's video comes from Dreamcast Guy. His channel will be linked in the description of the video, so you can go check him out. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of what Nintendo is doing here. Why is Nintendo completely to blame for what is happening right now with the console market? And it's slow but assuring death. We'll cover all of that in today's video. Don't forget to follow us over on Rumble. It's linked in the description of the video. And guys, with everything that's happening right now, it's the perfect time to get into PC gaming. And if you want to learn how to get into affordable PC gaming, you can do just that by checking out Angry Guys Arcade, which is linked in the description of the video. Now let's go ahead and jump into the video.
Gamers, Dreamcast Guy here, and today we're talking about a debate, a controversy, an angry screaming match that's been happening across the internet for the last 24 hours, which is the idea that consoles are dying, that the PlayStation 5 is an utter failure, that the Xbox Series X has done so bad that it's actually damaging Microsoft. People even seem to be dismissive of the Nintendo Switch, and I wanted to just sort of chime in because I do like console gaming. I've put thousands of hours into my PlayStation 4 and my PlayStation 5. I've put a bunch of time playing stuff on Game Pass. And of course, I've spent a lot of time traveling with my Nintendo Switch. But I do have to admit that PC gaming is growing way faster than any other market right now. I mean, it is wild to actually consider. It's just interesting to see stuff like PC sales tripling when every other system is kind of stagnant, or even stuff like, I think honestly the future of gaming is stuff like the Steam Deck, a basically portable console that's powerful, that's cheaper than a Nintendo Switch 2 and already has your Steam library. But I wanted to take a look at some hot takes and some anger and sort of the origin of this debate, because I think that consoles will always exist. In fact, I think that, honestly, the PlayStation 6 coming out here in the next couple of years, I still think the PS6 is going to be a juggernaut, even if, honestly, Xbox is dead. But let's talk about it, because I feel like people are kind of underestimating how much people love easy, quick console gaming experiences. But let me break it down. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so this is sort of the genesis of the debate. I saw this sort of stirring up last night, and people were actually mad. But this is Destin Legary. This guy worked at IGN for, I think, 13 years. For 10 years of that, an entire decade, he was on one of the biggest Xbox podcasts. I disagree with Destin a lot. I think a lot of his takes and stuff, I feel like 80% of the time, I don't agree. But I always like his stuff because even when I don't like his conclusion, I like kind of seeing his mentality as to how he got there. So let me make it clear, this is not a hate video to Destin. I actually think he's a very nice guy. But this is it. I've never seen fanboys be madder than when I say console sales are flatlined or shrinking. And yet, the PS5 is pacing behind the PlayStation 4, and let's face it, the Xbox is dead. The Xbox has been dying for 14 years. It's been digging a deeper and deeper hole. Y'all need a new hobby if this makes you mad. It's not even an opinion, it's just fact. Now, this is technically correct, but it's also kind of weird. The PlayStation 5 currently is like 1.8% behind the PlayStation 4. In fact, a lot of people in the comments are pointing out the fact that this is kind of a weird comparison. The PlayStation 4 had an absolutely record-settingly explosive launch. It's very well documented. That's not my speculation. There was a lot of controversy at the end of the Xbox 360 because the Xbox One was supposed to be always on. It had a camera aimed at your balls. It had a lot of features that people just did not want. So there was a huge demographic of people that went from Xbox 360 to the PlayStation 4. The fact that the PlayStation 5 is selling better than the PlayStation 4, or in this case, 1% behind it, I think that's honestly a compliment to just how massive the PS5 is actually doing, which is extra weird when you consider the fact that the PlayStation 5 really does not have games. And I know that's the meme, but I mean, like, the PlayStation 5, this is the slowest drip of PlayStation first party exclusives we have ever gotten, and yet it's still selling so well. I am a big believer in the fact that the PlayStation has become the default console, in that if you're a guy, you're just in college, you're like, all right, I've got some free time. I want to go out and buy a game console to play with the bros, whether it is Madden or Call of Duty. 99% of those people, they're getting a PlayStation. And I think that that dominance of the industry has clearly just showed Sony that in a lot of ways they can get away with being lazy. They are now the default, which I think has led to them canceling more games, not caring as much. It is interesting though, because from their own math, the PlayStation 5 is now the most profitable console that they have ever done, which again is weird because it has the least amount of games. But a lot of people are also pointing out that it is funny that in his tweet, he's excluding the Nintendo Switch. The Switch 1 has sold 150 million units worldwide. I mean, undeniably, the Nintendo Switch is, I think, even though I don't give it enough credit, I'll admit I do not actually give the Switch enough credit. The Nintendo Switch has created tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars of extra revenue in the industry. And the reason why is because I think the Nintendo Switch convinced a lot of non-gamers to pick it up. Oh, it's Mario. Oh, it's Zelda. Oh, it's Kirby. Oh, it's Animal Crossing while you're traveling. The Nintendo Switch, I think, was a good gateway drug to get a lot of people to want to try it. And I believe a lot of people that bought a Nintendo Switch, those people, 5 years down the line, bought a PlayStation 5, or a lot of those people became PC gamers. But this is interesting because
Now, guys, I want you to consider something about this. This is what Dreamcast guy is saying, but he's wrong about one fact. A lot of the people who picked up Nintendo Switch are casuals. They would not have played video games if it wasn't for something like Animal Crossing. These are people who enjoyed playing Candy Crush. A lot of these people were casual gamers, casual players, and they used it just to unwind, to play a bit of Mario here and there, and they viewed it as an affordable way of having something on the go. Now Nintendo is charging $80 for their games for Mario Kart. What made Mario Kart stand out so much is the same reasons why games like Schedule One or other are even what's the name, Clear Obscure, or so many other titles stand out is because they were affordable. Even though it was $60 for Mario Kart Deluxe, people still viewed it as more or less reasonable. In some ways, it was still it's like it was pushing the edge of value, but people still picked it up. It was something easy to pick up, play, and have fun with your friends, or just play by yourself and play in bits and pieces. Very few people are actually sitting there and putting 10 hours at a time into Mario Kart World. Nintendo is out of their damn minds believing that the Mario Kart Deluxe had that much replayability. It's a fun game. I played it probably more than anything else on my console, with the exception of my Switch, with the exception of Breath of the Wild. And then that was it for me. I basically put not more than a few hours into Tears of the Kingdom, and then I was basically done with it. And because mainly because I just didn't like the system, and like life. Just life has been so busy, but it's like that's the thing. Life is busy for everyone, and being able to jump into these adventures like Animal Crossing and like Mario Kart, that's what they were good for. Nintendo basically now thinks that they have a premium product and they need to charge premium prices. So they've gone from the company that used value to attract consumers, where the consumer felt like they were getting more than they were investing, to a company that says that if you want to enter, then you're going to have to pay for it. They believe that they are superior now. Their experience is actually superior to anything that Sony or Microsoft can deliver. Now, let me make this clear. Microsoft is dead in the water. It's basically coming out that their plan for to release their own Xbox handheld is not going to happen anymore. And supposedly this device from Asus, like the new ROG Ally 2, will feature some type of Microsoft software that allows you to play Microsoft games on it, as well as Steam games. But that's not going to save the company. In fact, that could actually work against against the suits, because people just don't trust Microsoft. And with Steam OS now out in the wild, with games with the Legion OS out there being reviewed very highly, Legion OS that runs Steam OS out of the box, this is basically looking like the beginning of the end for Microsoft, and not just Microsoft, but for also Sony, because now we're waiting for the desktop version of SteamOS to come out, which you'll be able to run on your laptop, but more so, or on your desktop, but more so also it will allow you to evidently create your own Steam machine, so you can create your own mini Steam console. You can even have a decent APU in there. That's another very important thing. So, for example, you can have these mini PCs. You can have these mini CPCs that have a decent integrated GPU or an APU, and you can take that running SteamOS, connected to your television, and now you have a full console experience in your living room. All it has, this is ridiculous. If you have something that has an AMD APU, you're good. Or AMD with an integrated GPU, CPU with an integrated GPU, you're good, and you're going to be able to run your games just fine on this damn thing. And that's a that's a massive implication, because we're seeing these things in action, and they're running very, very well. They're performing very, very well. So when you have parents now and their kids are like, well, I want this, I want to switch, they're going to get them a Steam Deck. I have people in my comments who are saying, like, parents in my comments who are telling me that they're now introducing their children to the Steam Deck, and explaining to them the reason why they're not going to be picking up the Switch too. Like, a lot of parents who are gamers, Nintendo thinks everyone is stupid. A lot of parents who are gamers, they're like, thank God bless the parents that are doing this. They're like, yeah, hell no, my kids are not getting this garbage. The games are too expensive, and it's spyware. You will own nothing. I buy this for you, and it's like, Nintendo is surveilling you. Nintendo is going to take the games away from you. Like, this is a level of absolute stupidity. Like, here's the Steam Deck, kid. Here's the Steam Deck. Go wild with it. And the thing about Gen Z and Gen Alpha is studies have found that Gen Z and Gen Alpha don't really care about consoles as much as previous generations. In fact, they don't care about them at all. They are actually gravitating more towards PC, which makes sense, because they like live service games. They like Fortnite. You're more likely to play games like Marvel Rivals than games like Clear Obscure, which is unfortunate, but it's true. They're basically into like that PC experience. So for Nintendo to be doing this, for these console makers to be doing this, they're basically just putting the final nails into their coffin. And by the way, guys, if you want to learn how to get into affordable PC gaming, you should go and check out Angry Guys Arcade. I'll tell you more about that just now. As console gaming fades into history, the PC master race is rising from its ashes, stronger, faster, and more customizable than ever. Don't get left behind in the dust. Angry Guys Arcade is your gateway to affordable PC gaming, personalized gaming advice, and the latest news shaping the future of gaming. The link is in the description. Go check it out now.
Pointing out that Destin Laguerre has at times been much more Xbox focused in his coverage. I'm not saying he's biased. I'm not saying he's like trying to skew the data, but it is interesting that the biggest console decrease, if you just say console sales are down, that doesn't really tell the full story, which is that, yes, the PS5 is down 1%, The freaking Xbox Series X is down like 95%. It's something absolutely insane. I do think that console sales are going to skyrocket with the launch of GTA 6, but here's the other part of it that I strongly disagree with, and I just don't like this take. Some people, in this case it's Destin, but I've seen some people kind of be dismissive to the importance of the Switch. The Nintendo Switch proves consoles are here to stay. Y'all forget that Nintendo stopped making handhelds and folded their console and handheld strategy together. The Switch has not outsold the Nintendo DS. Back in the day, the DS and the Wii console sold 255 million units. The Switch is a console. I mean, undeniably. Look, I've got a 3DS right here. I like the DS. I like the 3DS. I play mine all the time. The Nintendo Switch is undeniably a console. And it's undeniably got, in my opinion, Nintendo Switch fans are, in a lot of ways, the most diehard gamers we have ever seen. There's data that shows that the average Nintendo Switch person buys like 15 exclusives, that's called attach rate. Their attach rate is through the roof. Nintendo Switch people will buy an inferior port.
Now, here's where things get very interesting regarding all of this. So, guys, and let him finish.
5 years after its original release at full price. And I'm not saying that to act like they're brainwashed.
Now, the thing that you don't understand, people are not considering, is that, you have the fanboys, but without the casuals, you have nothing. And while the fanboys will likely push the Nintendo Switch 2 to very significant sales, greater sales than the original Switch experienced in the first and second year, you have to remember that Nintendo actually gained significant momentum in the years after the Nintendo Switch came out, not in the first or second year. So it didn't start out selling 15 million, then 20 million or 21 million. That took time, and it actually gained momentum over time, and especially because of the events of 2020. People were inside a lot. That also made the Nintendo Switch even more appealing. Do not get it twisted, however. Without the casual audience, if that is looking at this thing and going to say, okay, so I don't own anything and this is extremely expensive and the games are extremely expensive, or I can go and get myself a Steam Deck or get my kids a Steam Deck, and for $50 I can basically get them all tons of games. They can sit around, play tons of games for $50. I can get my kids like five or six double A, triple A games. They're happy. They're rocking out. They're spending most of their time playing Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, and Call of Duty, which I also picked up for like $5 on Steam. Yeah, I really don't give a damn what you guys think. I don't care about, I'm not going to give this company my money. And also, I don't want my children playing this. I don't want my children playing this when they're under my roof. I don't want my children playing this when they are not under my roof. I don't want my children playing this garbage at all. This is exactly what it is. It's a bad device. The Switch 2 is such a bad device that parents are literally like, they want to raise their children properly, those that are willing to raise their kids still, so their kids understand that it is not okay to own a Nintendo Switch 2. It doesn't matter if you're under mommy or daddy's roof. You have to have common sense and at least basic reasoning skills to understand that this is spyware and you will not own anything. I was looking at videos. I was looking at some of the previews of the Switch 2, and basically it does not work. It does not work out of the box. It does not work at all. All right, I'm not going to put on any of it, but I was like, it doesn't work, guys. Like, you basically have to have that day one patch or else you can't use the device. That's like how messed up it is, where you pay for something and you can't use it until Nintendo tells you that you're allowed to. And someone pointed this out, that all it's really going to take is some really not even talented hackers, some dudes like smoking cigarettes over in Russia and Ukraine, to basically say, yeah, Nintendo is misbehaving, so we're just going to go and brick every Nintendo, not just every Nintendo Switch 2 device, but every Nintendo device, because basically Nintendo has made it clear that the Nintendo Switch that we have, those are now also licensed devices. So you no longer own your Nintendo Switch anymore. Nintendo actually pushed through a big update pretty recently, to the Nintendo Switch. And one of the things that likely I suspect it's done is it's changed the way that the software works as well, so that they can now actively brick your device as well. So it's a license. It's basically a license, and after a certain period of time, your device will no longer work anymore. You're also now no longer technically allowed to upgrade your Nintendo Switch. So if you purchased a Nintendo Switch years ago, you cannot change the battery on it anymore. You cannot change the screen anymore. You can't modify it in any way anymore. Nintendo has now changed your user agreement to basically make it clear you don't own a device that you purchased almost 10 years ago, and you can't fix it. You legally cannot fix it. Oh, you want to fix it? You have to go through Nintendo. And Nintendo basically can deny fixing. They can basically also tell you that if we don't like how you're behaving, we don't have to fix it. That's also another part of their user agreement. You own nothing. You don't own anything under Nintendo. It is, guys, this is what tyranny, absolute tyranny, looks like. And then you have people trying to defend this practice. This is why console gaming is absolutely dying, and Nintendo is to blame, because after Nintendo announced the Switch 2, what did Microsoft do? They went and raised their prices for their consoles that had been out for 5 years by roughly $100 a pop. The Series S, don't blame tariffs for it. The Series S that had been out for years is now $379. $379, when this thing had been selling many times, even a year or two after it came out, for as little as $230, 250, or I think even 230 dollars. At one point I thought Microsoft might as well just get this thing down to $199, because it's like they keep on pricing it so low, right? And now it's up to 379. 379, and the other consoles have gone up in prices as well. They're the Series S and the Series X. It's like, what the hell is this? And they've announced that all of their first party games starting in the fall will also be priced at $80 a pop because of Nintendo's actions. And you're seeing that basically, like, games like Doom Eternal have fallen flat coming out recently. Like, people are like, oh, the game is incredible. No one's going to spend $70 for that. Like, I look at a lot of the games that are out right now. I'm not spending that kind of money. I have a massive backlog of games. I'm not spending that kind of money. I'll get indie games. Something that you guys don't understand, because many of you are not PC gamers, there are many other stores other than Steam, other than GOG. I love GOG. GOG is a DRM free store, but there are other stores. There are quite a few other ones that also offer a bunch of other titles and offer a lot of indies. And you can go to these stores and you can buy your games, and a lot of the games on there are DRM free as well. Not all, but many of them are DRM free as well. You can buy your games from these stores and play your games as well. So GOG is not the GOG, Steam. They're not the only ones in town, but they do offer tremendous value. And what you don't understand is that PC gamers play to win. PC gamers spend more money for games, for tech in general, than any console player will. All right. I mean, we spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on GPUs. Not every single one of us does that, but there are many who do. All right. We basically spend thousands of dollars a year on these Steam sales. Like, not everyone is like Mogbo Gaming. Shout out to Mogbo, who has like a massive collection of Nintendo Switch games, and like tons of DS games and PlayStation 4 games. This guy has a massive backlog, but not everyone is like that. There's a lot of people who are just fine with two or three new games a year, and they barely even touch those because our lives are so busy. And Nintendo thinks that they're going to go down this path. Yeah, they're going to basically find themselves in a horrible situation, especially when there's no trust right now, and the consumer backlash is leading to people avoiding their games and they're entirely. The PlayStation 6 will likely be around I mean, right now the idea is like it'll be at least $600, but it's 700 is more likely, and 800 is not out of the question. And the idea is that, well, you have no idea how much people like the convenience of simply being able to just play a game. The thing is that Steam OS, we have Steam OS has arrived for PC handhelds. And the Legion Go S is amazing, and it's getting better and better to the point where you won't even have to play with the settings at all, so that for optimal frame rates or anything, which is actually a good thing that you do have those settings. But I understand the idea that people don't want to tinker and have to learn. But the fact is that compared to the Switch and modern consoles, the amount of value that you get from Steam is just tremendous. It's a tremendous amount of value. And with Steam OS now arriving, and other companies, even other companies like moving away, like saying, yeah, we're not, even if we don't use Steam OS, we'll just build our own custom version of Linux, and then basically we'll just use our own custom version of Linux, and then implement Steam into that. Like, companies are doing that as well. I forget the name of the console that's doing that, but it's like Zontac or something like that, or Zonac. I forget the name, but you can look them up. But like, they're going through that method. I think they're probably going to move over to Steam OS at some point as well. But basically, people are just moving away from Windows. Like, Xbox gaming is dead. It would not surprise me if this is the last generation. Microsoft is like, oh, we're working. The next generation of Xbox is coming. I don't know. I think, like, and we're gonna see the largest. We're gonna see the largest, what do you call it? The largest generational leap ever. Yet again, I don't believe this. I honestly don't believe what Microsoft is saying. I think Microsoft is literally full of crap. I think Microsoft, this may be the last console generation for Microsoft, and then they are going to basically just focus on Game Pass and operate as a third party publisher. It's sad as hell. It's really, really sad, but it's a reality that we all have to embrace, and it's a reality that we all have to be focused upon. And the notion that people are just going to just keep picking up PlayStation is so restrictive. PlayStation is just so nasty, the way that they operate and treat their gamers. Now there's a new social credit score system where they'll monitor the things that you say in your games, and if they don't like your behavior, they'll restrict what you're able to do on the console. Like, as only an idiot is going to keep on picking these things up. Only the idiots are going to keep on playing these things. And the cost of these games, $80 games, guys, only guys, parents, especially with the cost of living crisis that we're going through in Western society, United States, and people are just going through a lot of fatigue. It's not happening. Like, it's all, gaming was already an expensive hobby, and now it's becoming a more expensive hobby. The whole idea of console gaming is to make gaming affordable for everyone. But where it's now no longer affordable, it just doesn't make sense anymore. Okay, and the only options are basically either you join the PC master race, and I know I've read some people say, well, if console gaming dies, I'm just not going to play I'm just not going to play games anymore. And I don't care, because these people are arrogant. It's like, if you're telling me that you would rather give up on gaming entirely rather than get a gaming laptop for now, or get a Steam Deck or a Legion Go S, which is amazing, and it basically does all of the work for you. It downloads the software updates. Nope. It's a gaming handheld. It's a console. It's a gaming console. It's a handheld gaming console. What more do you want? What? Oh, you need to have a brand like You need to have a brand like Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo attached to it, which is stupid as well, because you can play God of War on your Steam Deck or your Legion Go S, which is amazing, or your ROG Ally X, which is also great performance. Well, which is great performance, but that it does run, technically it does run Windows, but we're waiting for the Steam OS version to come out. But again, you have the Legion Go S now, which is absolutely banger. It's a total banger, running Steam OS, giving the console-like experience. It boots up just like a console. You can put it into sleep mode and then come back and play your games out of sleep mode. I mean, come on. You have all of these you have all of these options right now. You have all of these options right now, but you would rather give up on gaming. Like, who cares? And the honest to goodness truth is, I don't feel like these people are being completely honest, because they'll end up watching. They're like, they can't afford PlayStation anymore, and they still love playing games. So eventually, they're gonna watch everyone else playing their games, moving over to Steam OS handhelds, PC gaming, whatever, and then they'll jump ship, and they'll be forced to. They'll go pick up a Steam Deck or a Legion Go S, and then they're like, oh, this is nice, and there are all of these sales there are all of these sales and the games are so much cheaper and it's the exact same games. I can play God of War. I can play Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade is coming out next month. It's coming out next month. It's unbelievable to say next month, and and June is almost here. But it's coming out next month on June 11th, and it's going to be $60 It's going to be $60, so it's actually full price, which kind of sucks. But it's coming out for $60 for the base game, $79.99 for the deluxe edition or complete edition. I think it's called complete edition. I've actually paid for it already. I didn't want any issues, anything to keep me from the game. Yeah, it's the complete edition, but I guess it's still like I guess it's not the deluxe edition. A deluxe edition is one where it offers additional things in addition to the base game. The complete edition, to my understanding, this is going to include all of the DLC that has come out so far. So you're getting the complete experience, and that's only going to be like $20. The difference is only $20, and I'm guessing that the cost the cost when it actually came out for like all the individual DLC probably cost more than 20. So it's probably not a bad deal. So I already picked that up. But I'm not spending 80 I'm just not spending 80 or even $60 for most games right now. I really wanted to play Stellar Blade. I did not get to play because it was a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and now it's coming to PC and there are going to be mods for it. So that's a game that I would definitely want to have, and I'm going to have. I've already paid for it. I paid for it in advance. Pre-purchased it for $80, and I got the complete edition. And I don't know if I'm not sure if I get anything. I think there was actually something to it as well. So like, yeah, if you pick up the I think if you picked up the this is why I had to do it purchase early. If you pick up the if you pre-purchase it, you also get I believe you also get like certain costumes and things, I believe, that are not available ever again if you don't do it this way. So yeah, like pre-purchase offer, you get either glasses, air armor, a planet diving suit. So there's an entirely different planet diving suit. That's if you purchase the base game. And then if you purchase the complete edition, you also get a fluffy bear pack drone cosmetics, and also another planet diving suit for Eva. So this one is this is one is Captain, while the other one was the white edition. They both look actually pretty cool. I really like the white one. I wish I could show them to you, but I don't feel like it. But they're absolutely sick. They're 100% absolutely sick. And I basically was like, you know what, I'm just going to pull the trigger on it and pick them up. And I said I wasn't, but I think that I'm just going to go down the path. I think I'm just going to go down this path and put it on screen for you guys. So that's what it actually looks like. Those are the suits. Those are the pre-order bonuses or pre-purchase bonuses, because it's like pre-order, right? Pre-purchase bonuses. And when you pre-purchase it through Steam, and I'm guessing it's the same for like PlayStation 5, because I think you could pre-purchase the complete version. But on the Steam edition, at least, you're gonna get these are the things you're gonna get. So I basically wanted those extras. I wanted to, because like evidently you will not be able to ever get them again, like even via DLC. Maybe it's not true. Maybe they'll probably sell them later on for more money. But you do get these now. You do get these as a pre-purchase bonus. So I picked it up, and I don't really have any gripes on it. But for the average game, like, yeah, I'm not spending this kind of money. I look at a lot of games now. I'm like, yeah, I'm not spending more than $5 on this. Or I'll look at a game like, yeah, this is a $2 game right here. $50, yeah, I don't think so. This is a $2 game, and then sometimes I'll literally go and find it on a key shop for $2. And again, guys, if you want to learn how to get into affordable PC gaming, go and check out Angry Guys Arcade, which is linked in the description of the video. I teach you guys how to get into affordable PC gaming. I teach you guys about the best place to purchase games dirt cheap, how to build an affordable gaming PC, give you a personalized gaming recommendations. If you want to learn more about PC gaming, if you have questions, if you run into issues, you need help with troubleshooting, all of that. If you want to learn about what's going on in the world of gaming, keep up to date, go and check out Angry Guys Arcade. It is linked in the description video. But guys, this is the beginning of the end for Nintendo. Console gaming is dying, and as I said, when SteamOS comes out, at that point you can basically just take a mini PC, put SteamOS on it. As long as it has an AMD GPU, it should have AMD CPU GPU combo. Yeah, so basically AMD CPU with a integrated GPU or an APU, which is basically accelerated processing unit. Then you're good to go. You're absolutely good to go. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't have to be crazy powerful or anything like that. You can just basically put SteamOS on it, and now you have a console in your living room, and you can just go and now play your games from your television, just like any other device. And and that's it. And with, like, while it with, let's say, a mini PC that has an integrated GPU, you're going to be able to run a lot of the you're going to be able to run most indie games just fine. Pixel games, a lot of these stuff, you're going to be able to run them fine. For games like God of War and and Black Myth Wukong, they might struggle a bit more to run. That's when you might want to consider, like building a mini computer, which would use a discrete GPU, dedicated GPU. You can find something affordable. Hell, you can go and get yourself something like a RX 580, which is like $100 or less. That came out years ago, and that will run a lot of these modern titles still at 1080p. you know I mean, you have so many damn options. You can go pick up a B580, which is a modern GPU, and that does great 1440p gaming. You could often find them for around 300 the MSRP is 250, but you can often find them for around 300 to $350. That's typically where you're at. I mean, it's not, again, it's compared to the PlayStation 5, it's crap. And you know what, the thing is that's really cool about PC gaming for a lot of gamers now, instead of having to wait 10 years for Sony to upgrade, like, okay, the newest PlayStation 5 just came out. The PlayStation 5 just came out, or the PlayStation 6 just came out, and it's incredible. So we're going to be with it for the next 10 years. That's not how it works when it comes to PC gaming. If you want better performance, like, there's always a new GPU coming out. There's always a new GPU coming out almost yearly sometimes from AMD, or every 2 years or so, from AMD, from Nvidia, even now from Intel, who just dropped, like I said, the B580, which is a banger GPU. So you can just keep on upgrading the GPU. If you want better visuals, upgrade your GPU. If there's a CPU that comes out with like more L3 catch, like the X3D CPUs that are dropping right now from AMD, that offer better single core performance, that's another thing that you can consider. But I mean, yeah, it's just, that's basically it. You don't have to sit around waiting for Sony. You don't have to sit around waiting for the latest and greatest technology from Sony. Like, oh my gosh, PSSR, it's upscaling games. It's like, we've had that over on PCs for years now. Okay, we've had DLSS for years. We're on like the fourth version of DLSS right now, which is more advanced than PSSR. We have SSR4, which is very similar to DLSS4 now, and FSR runs on many different GPUs that don't even come from AMD. FSR4 is, you need specific AMD hardware to run FSR4, but for pretty much FSR 1 through 3, you can run that on a variety of different GPUs. And then on top of that, you also have other technology upscalers like XESS, which is Intel's upscaling technology that's similar to DLSS, and that will also make your games look prettier. And I think XESS you can run it on pretty much almost, on any GPU as well. I don't think it's limited only to Intel GPUs, but forgive me if I'm wrong on that. I mean, you have so many options, and you also have the lossless upscaler, which is an upscaler that it's an external upscaler, so it doesn't work within the game itself. It works externally from the game to upscale visuals and make them look better. You can download it for, like, I don't know, $3. You get it for like $3 from Steam. and it basically improves the visual fidelity of your games. And I think there's some other upscalers out there as well. But it's just so much that you can absolutely do. If like the more you want, the more you just have knowledge is power. You want better performance. If you're playing a game, you want something to look better. You can constantly just keep on tweaking, or you can just let things stay exactly the same. But ultimately, the console gaming is dying. It doesn't mean gaming is dying, but the mainstream gaming industry is going to collapse. It's not going to remain as it is right now. You're just going to see continued consolidations as not just game studios consolidate, but game journalism consolidates, because they're basically accomplices in keeping people stupid and extracting wealth and resources from us, while giving certain games priority reviews or reviews period, and others don't receive reviews. But YouTubers have mainly taken over that role, where now people just don't like. I don't even follow IGN anymore. If I need a review, I'll go listen to what Varadark has to say. I'll go listen to Smash JT or Hypnotic. I'll listen to a channel that professionally does reviews, and I'll listen to their reviews. And if they become tyrannical like IGN or the mainstream media has become, then I'll just go somewhere else and listen to another YouTuber, some dude filming this in his mother's basement, but he obviously knows what the hell he's talking about. So it's guys, like they're basically these people who have held a monopoly on information on games for so long. You have games like Schedule One dropping as just like on Steam and selling like I think well over like 1 million copies, like are millions of copies at this point. It's absolutely insane. Maybe up to like 3 million copies, and he dropped it for like $20, and it was made by like a one-person developer. And you're seeing more games like this that were developed by small teams. Claire Expedition 33, which was developed by 30 people, 30 people in a cave, essentially a cave. It was insane. The story of Claire Expedition is insane. But this is really indie is really what will save the industry. And if Steam becomes a horrible place for indie games, there's always GOG, which is DRM free. If GOG becomes absolutely crappy, there's itch.io. If itch.io there's so many different platforms where you can go and buy your indie games, and even maybe some mainstream ones that are on there. You can basically there's always something else. There's also the back catalog of games. There's emulation and we already know that emulation is not illegal, despite what Nintendo wants to say. So there are many, you can basically get access to all of these games, and it's just insane. They want you to believe that you have no other options other than to pay for their expensive garbage, but that's not the case. That's not the case, guys. Nintendo is to blame for all of this. Don't get me wrong. We were going in this direction from the very beginning, but Nintendo's tyrannical ways have always been setting precedences for the industry, and now they've basically pushed us to the brink of no return. Let me know your thoughts, guys, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video, and just remember that all roads lead to MWAM and walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.